you would be pressed to know that most people wouldn't make it this far. And I think, there are a lot of things that go in line with that, right? Like, first of all, you do have a college education, which shows that you have commitment, which, a lot of people, there's a lot of word right now where people are denouncing kind of college. Like, why would you pay all that money, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't see it that way. I see if you can get somebody out of high school to commit to 4 to 6 to 8 years of a university, it shows commitment. It shows somebody who's capable of studying, who's passing tests, who understands the importance of the next steps and signing up for classes and learning responsibility and so forth and so on. And so 4 years, 8 years later, this person now goes to a job and they have at least the baseline, Whereas most people come out of high school, go straight to a job. They don't have that, And I know real estate agents have been agents since they were 18 years old. And they've been rocking it out 20 years, 25 years, selling real estate. But they'll tell you in the beginning at 18, 19, 20, 21, like they were still trying to figure this baby out, And they survived it. Most people don't. You're right. So you hit 5 years, which is like, I think maybe 2-3 years past the marker of when most people would fall out. Most people fall out before that first year having that first renewal of your license,
Kurz looking clean with his whole sales team. We ain't come to talk nonsense. It's all about the process and profits until we make $1 billion from deposits. He never slacked and teach him to take action. So far from whacking, never gave up his passion. Can't catch him lacking, damper down on his fashion. He forever stacking, running up all the cash in. Real estate mastermind, check out his book, he gave us the blueprint. Really can't hate the grind, put in the work, no making excuses. Quitting's a waste of time, you made it this far, don't make your life useless. Pull up and taste the wine, he got the flavor, mixing the juice.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Freedom Achiever Podcast. My name is David Adam Kurz, and I am the CEO and head coach and founder of the Freedom Organization. We're a coaching and consulting company for real estate professionals, and our mission is to change and impact the lives of 1 million people in a positive way. And one of the ways that we do that is by hosting this podcast. And what do I do with this podcast? Well, it's named exactly what it is, the Freedom Achiever Podcast, where we bring what I consider to be freedom achievers to the table to speak their truth to potentially help you in your life. Now, that being said, if you're listening to this or watching this, I need you, 100% need you to hit the subscribe button. I need you to like it. I need you to comment. I need you to share it and tell the world about it, right? Because 60% of the people that watch our podcast are not even subscribed to our YouTube channel, right? And so I'm assuming that a decent amount of you that are listening to this on Apple or Google Play or wherever you're catching this podcast, we're also on Spotify, like wherever you're listening to it, subscribe so that you know the next time that we post something up. So today I have the great honor of bringing Jamari with me on this podcast, who I consider to be a freedom achiever, and you're going to learn why. Thank you for doing this podcast with me.
Thank you for the invitation.
Now let's tell people how I got you on the podcast. You want to share that story?
Oh my, we're getting started on the right foot here.
Let's go. I mean, listen, people want to know, right? So listen, I have been known as a coach, especially, to put people in uncomfortable positions, right? And so I reach out to Jamari and I'm like, hey, listen, I'd like to get you on my podcast so we can talk about XYZ, which we're going to talk about for everybody listen. And she's like, I don't know, man. I'm nervous. Like, I don't do podcasts. And I was like, cool. What's your email? And what's your phone number? And I registered her and signed her up for my podcast using the Calendly that we share. And she's here. She showed up, folks. So kudos to you, man.
Thank you. That is very true. I was hesitant. I didn't really know how the conversation would go. I thought it would be, just mainly real estate. And I was quite nervous, but he did push me. And here I am. I'm ready to go.
Nice. So one of the things that people will notice is that we don't often talk a lot about real estate. It will come up because we do bring a lot of real estate professionals on to the show. I will say that Jamari is a real estate professional in South Florida. So if you ever need to reach out to her, she is on all social media and she's very active. What do I know? She's an animal lover. She loves dogs and cats, by the way, which is like normally you're either a cat person or a dog person, right? Like I'm a dog person, you know? And even then, like I know when my dogs meet heaven and go to doggy heaven, I might not do another dog just to have more freedom, you know? So just being honest.
Mine crossed the rainbow bridge recently. So, I feel the same way. That's why I now have 2 cats, and I think they're so independent that I don't know how I could have another dog.
It's a lot of responsibility. It's like having children. It really is. Yeah. And they're children that never grow up, by the way. They never use the bathroom by themselves. They they never feed themselves. They need attention all the time, no matter how old they are. They can be 15-year-old dog. He'll still be like, hey, what's up? Where's my love? You know,
you go on vacation, you got a plan for everything.
I'm like looking around my room to see if my puppy's here. And I know the only reason that he's not here is because my wife is home right now. If she wasn't home, he'd be right here.
Oh, she's his person.
She's his person. He's his person. I am irrelevant when she is home. Completely irrelevant. Yes, completely irrelevant. All right. So how long have you been in the real estate industry in South Florida, by the way?
So I have been licensed since 2016. However, I did not go full time until 2018.
So what were you doing before?
So I was actually a behavioral therapist working with children on the spectrum.
See, these are the things that people don't know. I said to you earlier, tell me something people don't know. And you're like, I don't know what to say.
You put me in that, and I was like a deer in headlights. Like,
so tell me about that job.
Oh my. Okay. So it all started. I was finishing my bachelor degree. So I have a bachelor in psychology. I graduated from FIU. Go Panthers. And I kind of just got thrown into that specific field, or working with children on the spectrum. So as soon as I graduated, I started working. So it's what we call like in-home therapy.
Okay.
And if we, like anyone else, right? Where do you feel most comfortable? At home. So where are children going to display the most, troublesome or behaviors to correct? It is in the home. And that ended up being just a tad bit overwhelming for me. And that's why I love it, right? Very rewarding. You know that you are making an impact day in and day out. However, I am an empath. I pick up on everyone's energy very easily. And so from being in the home for 5-6 hours at a time,
ooh, wow.
I would come back home drained. So very rewarding, but I quickly learned, okay, is this something that I can see myself doing, long term? Ooh. 30, 40 years if I really continue on to a master's, a PhD. And I coincidentally, I don't think there's any coincidences in life, but the last semester of FIU, I started working for a developer in Sunny Isles. I wasn't in sales. I was just like a receptionist, admin, and I got to see what like the in-house sales was like.
Yeah.
It was for I'm sure you've heard of it, Park Towers in Sunny Isles.
Of course. Of course.
I was
Douglas Elliman saw that one?
Excuse me?
Was Douglas Elliman the one on that one?
No, it's J. Milton and Associates. Yossi Gill.
Okay. All right.
They were the developers. And so I started working with them before they broke ground on Park Towers. So I got to learn and imagine, let's just put it into perspective. I'm a Hialeah girl, raised by a Cuban family. I had never left Hialeah except to go to FIU in Southwest in La Ocho.
Yep.
So to go into Sunny Isles and start seeing a whole new world, it just opened. It was like a veil, like completely.
Especially when you start working with these high level sales agents, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it was a complete just mind shift of, okay, what do I really want out of life?
Yeah. And so is that what made you transition, or was it more the stress of the job?
So I did continue to work. So I started working for the developer in about 2014. So I worked another 3 years with the children. I gave it a fair shot.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just realized it wasn't for me.
Not for you.
It wasn't for me. Maybe in another environment, maybe if I did, in a normal in an office or in school therapy, it would have been different. But I also had very severe cases. I had severe cases. So it was draining. It was
That's
rewarding,
tough,
but
man.
draining.
Tough.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
I
mean,
definitely don't know
I
that
got
that's
punched in the
something I
face
could do.
once. Did you
No,
hear that?
yeah, I don't know if that's something I can do. That's definitely not something I. Yeah, kudos to you, man, because I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. No, I couldn't
Yeah,
do that. You win this. You win this. The job battle here, bro.
I tried it for 3 years. For 3 years, yeah. Then I just got exposed to real estate and a different life, and oh my, basically, there's a whole other world out there than what I had ever known, and yeah, that was
Did
the
you
end of it.
did you consider doing inside sales?
I did, however, I so I went part-time while working with them. So and I just jumped into general. That's what ended up
Okay.
happening. And I don't think
Okay.
there was an opportunity at the time to work with them. They already knew me, but I don't think there was an opportunity to work with them. So I just went into general. I'm
Okay.
still open to it.
And how do
I'm
you
open.
like general sales?
I like it. It's very, very different. I had again, maybe you can relate to me. My family is not, they're not business owners. They're not, they're so they're, they have the employee mindset. And
Yeah,
so
me too.
that's what a lot of Hispanics, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
For the most part have or come from that, scarcity mindset, right? The limiting beliefs around money and things like that. So that's all I knew. And so to make that shift has, it was quite tough, but I'm here. I feel like I made it. I made it past the 5-year mark that everyone talks about, right? Where
Yeah.
agents kind of leave
Yeah.
the field within the first 5 years.
That's pretty awesome. I think that you would be pressed to know that most people wouldn't make it this far. And I think, there are a lot of things that go in line with that, right? Like, first of all, you do have a college education, which shows that you have commitment, which, a lot of people, there's a lot of word right now where people are denouncing kind of college. Like, why would you pay all that money, this and that, and blah, blah, blah. And I don't see it that way. I see if you can get somebody out of high school to commit to 4 to 6 to 8 years of a university, it shows commitment. It shows somebody who's capable of studying, who's passing tests, who understands the importance of the next steps and signing up for classes and learning responsibility and so forth and so on. And so 4 years, 8 years later, this person now goes to a job and they have at least the baseline, Whereas most people come out of high school, go straight to a job. They don't have that, And I know real estate agents have been agents since they were 18 years old. And they've been rocking it out 20 years, 25 years, selling real estate. But they'll tell you in the beginning at 18, 19, 20, 21, like they were still trying to figure this baby out, And they survived it. Most people don't. You're right. So you hit 5 years, which is like, I think maybe 2-3 years past the marker of when most people would fall out. Most people fall out before that first year having that first renewal of your license,
Is that it? Are those
Yeah.
the stats?
Yeah, most people fall out before the first renewal of your license. So, and it just goes to show, like, some people do it for the wrong reasons. Some people do it for the right reason. You did it with good reason because, you knew you were in a position where you want to change and you were opened up to an opportunity that you saw. And sometimes people don't even see opportunity the way that it comes up,
This is true. Perspective is very, very important.
Yep. So now let's get into this nitty gritty, right? So 15 years ago, or around 15 years ago, if I'm not mistaken, I'm looking here. It was somewhere around 20. What year was it? Wait,
2009 when that
yes, to have gastric bypass. You were 17 years old, 245 pounds, at a height of 5'3".
Short.
and by the way, now you're, from what I understood and what we were talking about earlier, now you're going to the doctor and doctor's like, hey dude, you're not well. Like, you're about to hit hypertension, you're about to have high blood pressure, you're about to have all these major issues that may not go away if you don't cut weight.
So actually that occurred when I was already in the process of, being, I guess, of, them determining if I'm a good candidate for for gastric bypass. And again, we're talking about 2009, right? All of the, the new information, the new stats that have come out about gastric bypass, we didn't have that back then. So to be approved to have a procedure like this, as a minor, it was a big deal. So that's when I was already being vetted. But the reason why I even considered getting the procedure done is because my mom was looking for help for me. It wasn't so much about health. Yeah, I knew that at 5'3", 245 pounds, I'm obviously not healthy. My body is literally asking for change. But it was more the mental health aspect about it. I was suffering from severe depression. And so my mom was like, I need to get my daughter help. And that's where it all started.
So talk to me about that. You're 17 years old, you're overweight, obviously not accepted by the masses because humans are naturally assholes, right? And so you're feeling this depression. What was that like? Like, what were the major pieces that were forcing you into depression? And how did you find yourself trying to get through the day?
So so I mean, I don't want to talk too much about other variables, but the environment, my home environment, was also a huge factor into the depression. But more than anything, I mean, think about it. You're an adolescent. Women, as it is, we're more emotional, right? We have more hormones. You're an adolescent. You're as it is, you're becoming a grown-up, right? Right before 18, as a woman, hormones are going crazy, right? Puberty. You're trying to find yourself, right? And who you're becoming. And then on top of that, add in the variable of weighing 245, where, I just wanted guys to like me, right? I just wanted boys to like me. I wanted to date. I wanted to have the same timeline, right, that my friends were experiencing. And that wasn't it. So kids are kids, right? Everybody, I think, in high school goes through some sort of bullying. So of course I experienced that. I can't recall being depressed about that, but it was more like, I don't like what I see in the mirror.
Gotcha.
And so ironically enough, the thing that was causing me to be overweight was what I would turn to, right? So in emotional eating, It was just a vicious, vicious cycle because I couldn't get out of it.
Right. So it's funny that you said kids will be kids. Everybody goes through some sort of bullying in high school. The truth is that a lot of people don't grow out of that stage. And unfortunately, a lot of adults act equally as ridiculous. You know, we live in a world where people love to point fingers rather than fix themselves. And it's interesting. I just interviewed Kip Roth, who is a super successful person, and he has deformed arms, and he was born that way. And he says that even to this day, he's over 50, and even to this day, he will sometimes people will look at him and like startle and jump back in fear, and some people give him looks of disgust when they see him. You know, when he was younger, trying to get a job, he couldn't get a job at a restaurant because people said that they couldn't hire him because people wouldn't want to see him near their food. Like, you know, those are adults. So, you know, we didn't even get into what he went through as a child. He had brothers, so I'm sure he had protection. But when you go out into the real world, people are equally as difficult, if you will, right? And it's funny, I heard something, and I want to ask you your opinion on this, because we brought up, you know, the gastric bypass. You did it for health reasons, but also mental health reasons. And I kind of want to talk about your journey there, but there's this, there's like a trend happening with these high level entrepreneurs slash coaches slash health nuts. And the trend is they're all following each other. They're a bunch of sheep following each other. And the trend is they're saying, if you're overweight, I won't do business with you.
Ooh.
And they're saying this on social media, and they're saying, and their reasoning is, if you're overweight as an adult and as an entrepreneur, it tells me that you don't care about yourself. And if you don't care about yourself, then how can I partner with you and imagine that you would care about everything in our business? What do you think about that statement?
Okay, so as a formerly, and I was considered morbidly obese at 17 years old. As a former morbidly obese person, there's truth to that. There's truth to that. 100%. 100%. I say this with an open heart. I still struggle around eating because growing up, that's what I did. I ran to food.
Right.
So now when I'm stressed or anything, I'm still like, I want to go, picar, right? Just months, all day long. And so I'm still overcoming that, but I'm a big believer in two things. The statement of the easiest thing to control is what you put in your mouth, right? Yeah. So if we can't control that, what other sense of control is there around, anything else, and two, the way you do something is the way you do everything.
Yes, it's one of my favorite sayings.
So there's truth to that. I won't sit here and say that I'm going to judge someone solely on that. But I see the reasoning, behind that.
And I know there's some people that agree with it, other people that don't agree with it. I call them sheep because it was like one person said it, and then like everyone who thought they were super cool needed to say it too, Mm-hmm. So it's like, sheep following each other. But and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, there are sheep at all levels of income and fame and wealth. Okay. So, as I'm listening to this, I tried to sit back and kind of dissect that, because I don't know if that's something I would say publicly, but equally, right? Like, I don't know if I would go on social media and be like, if you're fat, I'm not working with you. You know what I mean?
That's out there.
Yeah, it's pretty out there. But is there a correlation to the mental health that someone has when they're overweight the mental health they would bring to the partnership or the business relationship that you would create, there has to be, because you brought up mental health at a high level and you're a testament to the change, and so you start to think maybe there is some reality or some truth to that. And also, I don't know if it's everybody. Like, I got an uncle, his name is Keto. Dude was big all the time. Dude didn't give a shit. Dude was on the dance floor. He danced salsa better than anybody out there. He was like the guy. He's been married like 3 times. He's got kids. He's got, like, for him, his energy was not of depression. His energy was completely of positivity and beautiful life and living, and just, he ate because he wanted to live, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? And then it's funny because I see his son looked just like him, and his son dances like him and talks like him, and everything. And his son was gordito, and son hit me up yesterday. No lie, yesterday I'm having this conversation with him, and he's like, he's on day 80 of a 90-day challenge, and he's lost so much weight. And I'm like, yo, dog, what's up? By the way, this guy works in marijuana, so I don't know how he's losing weight, because like,
please.
Yeah, bro, like, how do you literally work in an environment of munchies and go on a 90-day challenge, right? But
Determination.
But complete determination. And I was like, yo, primo, kudos to you, bro. That's awesome. Like, and I think he hit me up because I'm really big, and I'm a big advocate of working out. And I believe that this is my belief. I know there's plenty of people out there that say it, but I'm living proof of this belief. And I believe that if you wake up early in the morning and the first thing you do is take care of yourself, the rest of the day you can spend taking care of everybody else, because you already took care of you, and plus you just feel better. Like, the endorphins that are running through my body when I walk through the door after hitting the gym, like, everybody get the fuck out of my way because we are having fun. I'm going to mess with you. Like, my mom looks at me, she goes, listen, bro, relax. Okay. Like,
too much energy this early in the morning.
my mom lives with me, so she gets like the full brunt of this, and I love it, dude. I'm like, listen, you got to take care of you. You gotta handle that kind of business. I know you hit the gym consistently now. Like, that's become mad religious for you. Like, you didn't go get gastric bypass and just say, okay, that's it. Like, you take care of you. Tell us about your routine. I want to know more about it.
So funny enough that we're, on the podcast, or I'm on the podcast today. So I just took a 3-month hiatus from the gym for no reason at all. No, I didn't suffer from an injury, nothing. Again, the mental health, right? Some moments I'm like really into the gym, and other moments I'm like, okay, well, I could go just do cardio every once in a while, and I don't have to train with a trainer and be Monday through Friday, but I just started back up yesterday. So I want to go back to what or what you were just mentioning of, I am the 5 a.m. gym girly. So as long as I'm training with my trainer, I am there early in the morning. And it's not just about, the working out and whatnot. It's just you're experiencing a win first thing in the morning. Like, you overcame it. Listen, I will tell you, my brain works against me all the freaking time. All the time. I'm like, I'm going to get up at 4 a.m. and I'm going to be at the gym by 5. I won't be in the gym until 5:45. But guess what? I still did it, right? I still got up. I still overcame those negative thoughts. And those small wins stack up. They just, it's an incredible feeling. Like, I got home today from the gym at 7:15. And I was like, what an incredible feeling. The sun is not even fully up, and I already experienced my win for the day. I feel accomplished, and it's 7:15 a.m. So
I'm taking notes now because you said something. My brain works against me. And so there's a there's a scientific theory. I follow so many people because I'm completely infatuated. Like, so I love to coach. That's my gig, right? But I want to coach with scientific truth. Like, I don't want to coach on the basic theory everybody else coaches on. I want to coach on true linguistic communication. I want to coach on true scientific fact. I want to coach on factual pieces of, like when I say go have a meeting with somebody, we actually go through the process of the meeting and the science behind it, right? And so there's a scientific fact that the brain is designed in defense. So the thought process is that the brain will not want you to do anything that could potentially hurt you.
Yeah. That
right?
this stems.
So
sorry.
It's painful to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, right? The brain knows that, so the brain goes, "No, we're not waking up at 4:30," right? It's painful to go to the gym. Like, listen, I went to the gym today and yesterday. Everything hurts, Jamari. Everything hurts, bro. I'm getting old, man. Everything hurts, and so I'm like, people are like, "Oh, you're in shape. You must feel great." Yeah, bro. I'm sore. Every joint hurts. Like everything hurts. Why would you do that to yourself? Right. And so the brain goes, dude, you're going to be in so much pain tomorrow. Like, why do you want to do these squats? You know what I mean? Why do you want to push this much weight? I no Nintendo,
Yesterday was my first day back, and Mondays are leg day. And my trainer had no mercy. He's like, I don't care that you just took 3 months. You're going to lift the same amount as when you left. And I live on the 3rd floor. I cannot even pick something up from the floor right now. So, trust me, I know what you're talking about. I know the pain.
And then add that to Latino culture, right? So add the fact that the brain works in defense, and then add that to growing up in a Latino family where the number one word growing up is typically no.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, hey, I want to climb that. No, don't do that. You're going to hurt yourself. Or get down from there. You're going to hurt yourself. Get off from there. You're going to hurt yourself. Deja eso. No toque eso. Don't do that. Don't do this. And it becomes sadistically implanted into your head. And so you grow up thinking, no, I can't do that. It's going to hurt. Right.
So, you mentioning this, I mentioned, I'm a psych major. And I loved being at FIU and taking upper division psych courses, and it all focused around that. And this actually goes back to like our ancestors, right? Like, your brain is like, okay, there's danger. We're not going to go there, right? So back to the comfort zone, right? Your brain always wants to keep you in a certain zone, and and so you have to constantly, at least I know I do, I have to constantly work against it. It helped me a lot also. I'll throw this in there, I guess, the spirituality side to things. And I started learning, like, not every thought that comes up is me, right? Like, I don't need to act on every single thought. And if a negative thought can come up, then I can replace it with a positive.
That's amazing. And it's true. You can't, it's true. Like, the second you start thinking positive, you go, yo, wait a minute. How do I make this glass half full?
Yeah.
But that requires practice. It requires training. For some people, it requires help, right? Which by the way, is okay.
100%. So I'll take it a step further than that. It takes first awareness. You need to be aware. If you're not aware, you don't even know that that's a negative thought. That's your norm. You're in that, in that cycle of, this is what I constantly think. So how are you going to break away from it if it's not help, right? Someone else making you aware, or the practice of you yourself saying, okay, this thought came up, but I can also say a positive one. And that's how you start making those shifts.
Yeah. Listen, you gotta have the fortitude to make the shift That's number one. And number two, you have to have your eyes open for opportunity, right? Because, you know, same thing. I was talking to Kip. Kip is like, you know, there's an old saying, like, I don't know, ancient Chinese proverb or whatever, but it's like, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will show up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could pay attention to those signs, the right people will show up in your life at the right time, as long as you know that you're pushing forward. By the way, this is a guy that has deformed arms or whatever, got a job as a bike messenger because it was a blind interview. They never saw him. So they hired him over the phone. They go to this locker. Here's the code, and your cell phone and your information and stuff is in there, and you could pick up the first package and start working whenever you check in, right? And he gets this job, and he goes, David, he goes, there were times that I'd be riding down the street on this bicycle as a bicycle messenger, and I would see a bus, and I would just want to turn into the bus, right? Check this out. He gets into an elevator, and I'm telling you the story. People that listen to my podcast are going to hear it because his podcast is going to come out before yours. But he says he gets into an elevator, and the doors are closing, and this little lady comes in, stops the elevator, and jumps in the elevator. He says people are usually terrified by him because of his arms, you know. And he says that this lady is staring at him. She turns to the side and she starts staring at him. And he said typically he would look at people who would stare at him, because staring is predatory, right? And they would look away, right? But no, she didn't look away. She stayed staring at him, and she looked at him and she goes, huh, your life must be really interesting. And then she got out the elevator. And he said to me, he goes, if I ever met this lady again, I would explain to her that she saved my life. Because his mindset now shifted from my life is painful to my life is interesting. Like, who else lives this life? And then he started talking about it. And by the way, he went on to become an attorney for 15 years, owned a franchise for another 10 years, super successful coach in the industry. I mean, just all around great guy, and all from this one elevator ride with this lady, you know? So you got to be attentive to your environments, but you got to be ready for it too.
110%. That is, again, perspective is everything, right? If he wasn't ready, he would have taken that comment and he made it, you know, made his own perspective on his life even worse, right?
Yeah.
And you know what? You talked about this, and I got goosebumps. Individuals who come from adversity or experience adversity are the ones that achieve at such high levels. It's like people need to, and myself included, we need to understand that everything we experience, it's building us up. There are no coincidences. Everything in life is a synchronicity.
That's why I said to you, this podcast cannot be about your real estate business. It has to be about everything before that made you who you are today, you know? And this is it right here.
Yeah.
This is it right here. 15 years ago, you know, gastric bypass, tremendous weight loss. I don't know how much weight you lost, but it's got to be a lot.
May I say?
Yeah, of course.
So I lost 120. I actually did not lose it in the healthiest of ways because I wasn't consuming, you know, the amount of protein. It is so difficult. Gastric bypass is not, you know, contrary to popular belief, it's not a physical journey. It's a mental one. Yeah. Now you have a pouch the size of an egg, a golf ball, and you're supposed to consume 90 to 100 grams of protein a day on a golf ball size stomach.
Yeah.
So I lost 120 pounds, wasn't the healthiest. And so then I've, you know, after with many years of training, I've put, I believe like 20 to 25 pounds of actual muscle back on. So quite an interesting journey. And I'm like you said earlier as well, like we're not done. Every day that we wake up, it's a new day.
Yeah.
What we did yesterday, yeah, it contributes, but it doesn't mean anything. Today's a brand new day.
It's got to
What
be a
is it?
compound. It's got to be a compound effect, you know?
What is it? What's the saying? Like success knocks on the door every day, or like rent is due every day, something like that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. The life rent is due every day, bro. And you got to wake up and pay up, you know?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to do something without your permission because I know people are going to look you up anyway. So it doesn't even matter what I do right now. But I'm going to share my screen so that folks can see the transition. Yes. So I think if you're listening to this, by the way, on a podcast channel, like go to YouTube and just pull up this video and come to this position right here, because she has probably one of the most incredible before and after photos up here. And you could see her story on there. So you could pause this video, could read her story. You follow her on social media. I'm sure she wouldn't mind you following her on social media. And watch this journey as it continues, because I have a feeling you're not done.
I'm not. God willing, I will live many, many years, continuing this journey and helping others, out of their dark space, when it comes to mental health, revolving around, being overweight and whatnot. That's my mission now. I love what I do in real estate. I'm an advocate for a lot of things in real estate. But I didn't go through this for nothing. I'm here to help others.
I think you need to embrace this opportunity that you've had here and use this as a catapult to get on more podcasts and do more conversations and get on more stages and have this conversation and help people. I think so many people out there need to be helped, and you're the perfect candidate to help them out. So thank you for doing this show with me. It means the world to me.
Thank you so much. And I absolutely thank you for the push, first and foremost. And I absolutely will use this to continue to grow. So thank you.
Huge. All right, everybody, if you made it to this part of the podcast, it means that you actually enjoyed yourself. So I'm going to need you to go ahead and share this with everybody that you know, because it's important that we get these amazing messages out. Subscribe, like, comment, share. That's what we need from you. Help this podcast take its step to the next level so that we can impact more lives on a regular basis. And again, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I shared my screen. So if you're listening, you're going to have to find this on YouTube. Fast forward to about minute 39, and you'll see what I was able to show on here, the before and after photo. Pretty solid. Again, thanks again, Jamari, for doing this with me.
Thank you.